that juice. That's like a snack and a drink all at the same time.
Well, cherry tomatoes, and you can, same thing, brush out the dirt and pop them in your mouth.
Those are so good. I usually don't like tomatoes, but these are good. This is so entertaining. Welcome to the Food Summit! Look at this one!
Oh, that's beautiful.
It all started a couple years ago when this area suffered the Great Recession, and this area had a ton of young families in it, a lot of families in the construction business, so when the bottom dropped out, many of our families lost their jobs, lost their health benefits. Also, during our medical events and during our wellness fairs, we really noticed that our families were not as healthy as we had hoped, and with people losing their health insurance, this could really have some dire consequences. So we really started looking at how to get more healthy food into our area. Also at this time, the USDA designated many of our communities as food deserts, which means that people either have to travel great distances to get healthy food, or they have to pay premium prices. So again, access to fresh food was the paramount. We saw more people than ever start relying upon our food pantries in the Dayton and Silver Springs area. So our kind of first strategy was to immediately bring in volunteers, who a lot of them had just recently lost their jobs, to help feed the community and feed the families. And we started in Dayton. We quickly realized, though, that just this one strategy was not going to make it. And so we looked at different strategies and thought, we're going to have to bring everyone together to really make a dent in this. So on top of the food pantries, we also looked at the school gardens.
Great about the hoop houses in the schools is the kids are actually in school while the produce is growing. So it gives them the ability to not only prep and plant, but to see the growth and see the progress, and then get to harvest all while they're during school hours, which is really great, because our regular garden is awesome because they plant before they leave for the summer, and then they're gone. They come back and it's amazing to them because everything's growing beautifully. But this, they'll actually get to be a part of the whole process. So that's the great thing about a hoop house in the schools. It's called the Three Sisters. Did she explain that to you?
Yeah, she said that they all grow together because that's what the Native Americans used to eat. Corn, beans, and pumpkins and squash.
The coolest thing about our school gardens, in my opinion, is the kids are part of the garden from the very beginning. They've done all the planting, the weeding, the harvesting. We're all organic. The kids pop that fruit in their mouth and they're just so excited to be eating something that they've grown themselves. It's just one of the most positive things you could ever hope to be a part of.
Oh my gosh, that smells good.
I'm gonna smell like tomato all day.
It's so weird. It was sprayed out the bottom. Mine just totally opened up. That's good. Look at all that juice. I mean, not. Is that good? I usually don't like tomatoes, but these are good.
I am 8 years old and my name is Ashley and I like this garden because you can do a lot of things and you can plant things.
Like what?
Like tomatoes, pumpkins, squash, trees, all kinds of sorts of things. Pumpkin. It tastes sweet because I ate pumpkin pie. Watermelons. The watermelon. Probably planting it. It's pretty fun. Planting and picking.
Yeah.
What's yours, Haley? I think it's great because it has a bunch of vegetables and it's nice and sweet. Yeah, and what's so much fun is when they're ripened, we get to pick them and they serve them in the school cafeteria. Yeah, it's pretty good. Today what we had was peppers from the garden. They were pretty. Actually, we have bell peppers and jalapenos. A bell pepper, what you have to do is you have to cut off the top and slice it open, and you have to get all the seeds out first.
My favorite part would probably have to be how we get to be a part of it. We don't just have to sit back and watch. We actually get to get our hands dirty and actually learn the responsibility of how to take care of our garden. I think it's really cool that we get to participate in not only getting the soil ready to plant stuff, but we get to harvest and try what we just grew.
This kind of gardening is very labor intensive. We didn't come in here with mechanical machinery at all after the initial gravel was removed, but came in here and did this all with hand tools, did it by hand. The students helped with the planting, they helped with the spreading of the alfalfa, they helped with the harvesting, and it really has been a good experience for them, and I think really for the community. I know that the crops that are grown here have been utilized locally with the food bank, with needy families. They've sold some at the farmers market. It's really, I think, a very excellent success story for what we can do here in an arid climate with manpower and very few inputs to establish a healthy soil and a healthy garden that really in this amount of space can feed a lot of people. It's something that as this garden continues with the fruit trees, with the continued management of the soil and the crop rotation, this garden will continue to become more and more productive and bountiful as the years progress. A lot of the students that are helping, they're learning skills that they can employ at their homes, either on an apartment balcony or in a larger backyard or even a larger piece of property where they could have a big garden. There's really nothing that would keep people with a very small investment in plant materials and some soil, pots if you're on a balcony, from producing a lot of food even at home. So hopefully the skills that these students are learning here, they'll be able to take home and employ with their families or use in the future as they have families of their own.
Jackpot.
There where my hand is?
I just ate one I popped.
See, they're juicy! There's one right next to it.
So every one of them has got that thing now. Now they know that fresh food isn't, that green isn't necessarily awful. And I think that's what the whole thing of the school garden is. Let them own it, let them grow it, and see how it grows, and see that it's a wonderful thing, and they just get so excited about it. And then when they start eating it, then we've got kids that know how to eat fresh food. So I think that's what the school garden does. Once the children start eating fresh food and learning to love fresh food, they go home and they tell their folks, can we have that kind of food at home? And then that kind of food can be available through the co-op, because we can make that available through the local farms and make good fresh fruit and vegetables available to the parents, which here in Silver Springs it's not available. The principal has just been so supportive. The teachers have been so supportive. The kids are loving it. The parents even came last year before the hoop house blew away, and we had, I can't remember what morning it was, coffee with the principal, and he brought the parents down here. And the parents were wandering through, and I can't remember, January or February, and here's all this green stuff growing. Next thing you know, they all wanted to have hoop houses at home.
This is a great addition to our kids and our communities. Definitely no bad things with it. That's the thing. If we're going to grow their minds, what better way to do it with growing a garden?
We were just at the elementary school, and not only is it a garden, it's a STEM lab now. They're actually taking readings of the soil, doing scientific measurements of the environment,
Temperature of the soil,
and they're documenting this, and it's become a STEM lab. So not only is it a garden, it is an actual classroom environment. It's a STEM lab now.
The also other avenue that I like to see is that it's not just the growing of the vegetables and the fruits and the flowers or anything like that, but it's also the business mindset behind it. We have a kid in Smith Valley that was raising honey, that was then all of a sudden taking that honey and selling it, making money for the school, making money for himself, just taking his educational process and growing with that. And so it's neat to see that the business aspect as well, of kids learning about business and about marketing their product and selling their product that they've grown with their own hands. And so that's part of the neat process as well.
About every different subject they're learning in the school right now applies to this garden, believe it or not, and they can actually apply that knowledge to the garden. It's definitely interactive, and from the community output, there's been nothing but amazement and pride in the community garden as well as the school garden. It's all become kind of one. It's really a neat thing.
We also use the fresh vegetables to come into our farmers market, and that leads to our third strategy. Again, trying to bring more fresh fruits and vegetables into our communities at affordable prices. Our farmers market started in Dayton, went to Silver Springs. We are now trying to get a farmers market more readily available in Yerington, Hawthorne, and Fernley. So really exciting. The great part about farmers markets is not only do they provide more nutritious foods to the communities that they are in, they also help our local farmers sustain themselves. And we love that. We love getting more nutritious food to our people while sustaining our farmers. The fourth strategy is the Silver Stage Co-op, and a group of dedicated women. This was their dream. These women came together and they buy in bulk, and then they redistribute amongst their members, and so that nutritious food can be bought cheaply. Oh, the other part is that in our farmers market and our co-op, we also were able to bring in the EBT machines, which are the food stamps. And so that, again, people can come into the farmers market, use their EBT or food stamps there. They can also use it at the Silver Stage Co-op, and then we hope to next year get many of our farmers, by sharing an EBT machine, to be able to offer their CSAs via the EBT machine. So the co-op also assists with education and how to cook healthy foods, And that goes to our fifth strategy, which was really opening up our infrastructure. And we were so blessed to have an amazing school district that was really willing to step to the table when the community needed them most. Our schools are some of our largest infrastructure in all of our communities, and not only did they open their doors to allow the food pantries to live at their schools and for food to be distributed at the schools, but they also allowed a use of their trailers in Silver Springs for a continuous running food pantry, and they allowed use of their commercial kitchens, so our farmers, our food co-op, or anyone can go in there. They can create a micro business or a value-added product of their fruits and vegetables and can bake and then also sell them at the farmers market or the co-op. So very exciting, and we wouldn't be able to do it without our schools. Also, our farmers markets are in community spaces, so we do not have to charge any of our producers. Our main goal is to keep the produce as cheap as possible so that as many people can afford it as possible. And then the last strategy, our sixth strategy, really is an overarching strategy. And that is the belief of all of the partners and all of our citizens that everyone, despite their age or despite their abilities, have a place in our community to make this a better or healthier place. And so we have places and spaces for anyone to join the effort. And that's what it really takes for everyone to come together and join this effort. We really believe that relationships are what drive community. And so when you have services that allow deposits and withdrawals, for example, at our food pantries, people who use our food pantries also volunteer there. They become part of the solution, and that's how relationships become strong, is that they allow for that withdrawal and they allow for the deposit of their gifts and talents and time or money or donations. And we strongly believe that that's a very important piece into this community food hub or food system. And lastly, again, a coalition is nothing without its partners. We wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be doing all these strategies if it wasn't for the hundreds of partners that have stepped up to really once and for all help solve the hunger issues in these communities.
That is so